I'm Sienna.
Oh no, I missed it. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, I'm Sienna.
And I'm Madison.
And you're listening. Hey, I'm Sienna.
And I'm Madison.
I'm sorry. Yelling at them.
Really impressive. Okay, here we go.
Hi, I'm Sienna.
And I'm Madison.
And you're listening to the Just a Person podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Just a Person podcast, a show that explores life's highs, lows, and in-betweens. I'm Madison, and today we're talking to Talia. Talia stops by to talk about how a love of sports at a young age led her to play college soccer, how living your dreams makes sacrifices worth it, and the importance of betting on yourself. Thanks so much for listening and enjoy. Hi, Talia, and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We're going to get started. We're going to pick a random question out of a hat. We've written a few down, and we're going to answer this question. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right.
Okay, first question. What are you most proud of?
Oh, it's a good one. What am I most proud of? Honestly, up until this point, probably just following my dreams. Going out to New York, I always wanted to in high school. And there was a lot of people, especially my dad, who supported me and helped me get there and put me in the best position possible to be able to do that. And I ended up forming a really special bond with my dad and a lot of people along the way. So I'm definitely proud of that and sticking and staying in contact with those relationships.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a really good answer.
Sienna, what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Maybe something similar, kind of following my dreams. I feel lately, ever since I graduated, I've really have been trying to do things that make me happy. So, for example, I took my time off to travel, which I never really thought I would be doing because I was always really scared and anxious, but just kind of facing my fears and being scared, but doing it anyways. I think that's what I'm most proud of that I've done.
Okay. I would say for me, kind of similar. I think doing things that are creative that people can see putting out there for everybody is hard, even just getting started. So I think, no matter what happens with this podcast, just the fact that we're even doing it and making something that other people are going to eventually hear is scary. But I think feeling like I can do something like that, I think I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I feel for all of us, we're kind of doing similar things. We're all doing things that make us a bit uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, yeah.
They're out of our comfort zone. It's things that we wouldn't really expect that we would be able to do, but we do anyways, and we're just kind of going for it. So yeah, we should be proud.
You got to blaze your own trail. Yeah,
I like that. That's good work, everyone. Okay,
so to go off of kind of what you said, just give us, you said you've always wanted to go to New York when you were a kid. Let's go back to when you were a kid. What was that like? Where we're from, Michigan.
Madison, I'm still a kid. You call me an adult on the podcast.
Okay. Fair enough.
When you were a kid.
Fair enough.
Childhood is over.
Sorry to say.
Back to when I was a kid. What do you want to know? When I started playing soccer and kind of
Let's just start. What was your childhood like?
Okay, yeah. So I grew up in Muskegon. I went to high school with Madison and we played basketball together. I had a great childhood. I definitely have my parents to thank for that. I was the kid that tried everything. I did softball, basketball, soccer, ice skating, everything. I had a great time. I did ballet, gymnastics. My parents just let me try everything. And I think that can be kind of hard to do, especially I was in a family of, I had 3 other siblings. So it's not easy all the time to always prioritize your kids and make sure they're, it's definitely not a requirement to make sure your kids getting all these experiences, but my parents went above and beyond, and my family life was really good. And I love my family and everything that they do for me. So, I really cannot complain about my childhood. I went to summer camps and everything. It was awesome.
What is something you enjoyed the most about living in a place kind of near the water, or there's a lot of kind of nature in Muskegon? What did you enjoy the most about that?
Gosh, I'm a big fan of bonfires, stargazing, and kind of stuff like that. Just spending time with your friends and watching the sunset, or watching the moon set, or just the sunsets every single summer, just amazing. And it kind of gives you a better perspective on what actually matters in life. I think when you come to New York, you kind of get stressed out and everyone has their head down and their music in, and you go back to Muskegon for a summer and you're yeah, this is what it's all about. I'm glad I came from where I came from.
So when you say New York, are you in the city?
Yeah, I'm right in the city. Columbia's 116th and Broadway. So I'm Upper West Side. And then our fields are on 218, so a bit more uptown. But
Okay. Did you say that you always wanted to move to New York City? Like that was
yeah, that was the goal. My parents met in New York City. My mom went to Juilliard, and my dad was working at a bank. So like we had kind of been to like the city growing up, and then my brother ended up coming to Columbia and playing football. So then I was visiting him too, and then I just kind of got enamored with the city, and every single weekend we came, I was just like head over heels. I need to come here, kind of thing. So
okay. So from like a young age, you kind of decided that that was where you wanted to be.
yeah, for sure.
When you were little and you were trying all these different sports, what ones specifically stuck out to you? And then what about soccer made it stand out above the other ones?
Yeah, when I was younger, I loved softball. I was so sad when I had to pick softball and soccer because they're both spring. But I was like really good at like running the bases in softball, but I could never hit the ball. I needed to be in like a certain area or else I wouldn't be able to hit it. So that and you don't really run that much. I can run very, very fast between the bases, but a lot of softball is like not just running. So that was, yeah, I stopped playing softball, and then basketball and soccer were like my main two when I got older. And then I think like just basketball is like such a fun sport, and it's like so fun to be like in such close proximity and like have the fans so close to you, and you can interact and like have great camaraderie like with the fans and everything, and that's really fun. But at the same time, for me, like in the way I'm built, I could just not really show my speed as well in basketball. In soccer, I have so much more space and like freedom to like be able to showcase that, and that was like one of the main reasons for me. I was also better trained in soccer growing up. I really only played like basketball for my high school, and like soccer I was in club and doing a bunch of other stuff for soccer. So even when you look at getting recruited too, it's a numbers game. So basketball, there's 5 people on the court. Your odds of getting recruited for basketball a little bit slimmer than 11 people on the soccer field. When I go to college, like I have a team of like 30 some teammates. That in itself is like a perk because you just get to know like so many more people, and it's so much more fun.
Okay. So when you were did you play both basketball and soccer in high school?
Yeah, my main thing in high school was soccer, basketball, and then I ran some track.
Okay. At the time, I guess, did you know you wanted to pick soccer for college, or were you still kind of in between?
Yeah, so my freshman year of high school is when I started to get like serious about actually playing college soccer. And then I moved over to a Grand Rapids Soccer Club Alliance in Grand Rapids with a lot of higher level like players, because in Muskegon it's kind of hard to get that exposure. Going through high school, like I always kind of debated maybe I should try to do both. And I actually did look into that, playing both at a Division 3 school. But I think at the end of the day, like I wanted to come to New York, and I loved the team chemistry at Columbia, and it felt like family. So I think it worked out for the best for me.
So would you have been fine playing either? And if you had a choice, would you still pick soccer, or you just wanted either one to be able to play in college?
Um, I think I was set on soccer from like a very early age. I think that's what I was more prepared to do. And I like I said, like it's a numbers game. And like I felt like my best chance was with soccer. And I was better trained to do that. And I loved it. And I love that it's outside too. I didn't want to be stuck in a gym like a year round. Basketball is such a big commitment in that way. So I was pretty set on soccer. And like if I could get the possibility of playing both, then I would consider it. But it just kind of all worked out.
I guess one thing, I used to play travel soccer and I ended up quitting because I ended up quitting when I was high school. But the one thing that really bothered me was I felt like I was missing out when I was, especially when I was younger, like 13, 14. All of my friends would be hanging out on the weekends, going to parties, and I would be out of state at a tournament. And, being young, I feel like you really care about all of that. Did you ever have like a similar experience?
Yeah, no, I definitely did. In high school, like it was such a grind. You kind of wake up 8 a.m., you start school. Then I would go to basketball practice from 3 to 5 when school ended. And then like I'd have soccer practice in Grand Rapids from like 6:30 to 8:30 or something. And then I'd get home at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then on the weekends, I think I skipped at least a few dances just because I either was like going to an ID camp on the weekend to try to get recruited, or I had a big college showcase that I had to be there for. And it's definitely a sacrifice. You don't want to miss out on those opportunities. And it's tough. At the same time, like if it wasn't tough, everybody would do it. I think that's what kind of makes it special. Like you kind of made that path for yourself and you stuck to it. For me, I knew I wanted to play Division 1 college soccer. I knew I wanted it. It's kind of like whatever needs to be done is going to be done because this is what I want. If I have to give up a few dances, like so be it. Yeah, I definitely like missed out. I admit I miss being with my friends and like experiencing those things, but I think like 40 years down the road, I'm probably going to be like, yeah, I'm okay with missing a few dances and like a few weekends at home.
I remember sometimes even during basketball practice, you'd have to leave that practice to go to a different practice. And you could kind of see a little bit, at least from my perspective, how much of a toll that could take on you at times during that season. Were there ever tough times that you felt like you just kind of wanted to give up and not keep pursuing this anymore?
No, I wouldn't say that. There were times where I was really tired and stressed out. Um, I mean, I talked to my friends about it, like, but I had a bit more trouble getting recruited just because I was from a small town and like I didn't have tons of college exposure and like I wasn't in like on a like ECNL team, so I didn't have that. So for me, like I kind of had to work like a little bit harder. But there was never a time that I was like, I don't want to do it. You know, I always wanted to do it. I mean, now that you're like saying it, the recruiting process for me was like probably the most stressful time in my life. Like I would go to bed every night and I would just worry about like where I would end up. It's scary because you literally have no idea. I knew I wanted to do it and I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know where. And it's very stressful because it's to a certain extent it's out of your hands and it's hard to get that. I mean, I wanted to go to like an Ivy League school in New York City and play on Division 1 soccer team. Like they're not handing out golden tickets on the side of the road, you know? What I wanted was a big feat. So I was very, very stressed, especially like at the end of my junior year when I didn't really know what was going to happen.
Did you feel like a lot of pressure to like almost like get in and like prove to like yourself or other people that like you were like able to after like all you like sacrificed and like gave up?
Yeah. I think like in high school, everyone's just like kind of checking out like, oh, what are they going to do? Or like, did they get accepted into that school? And like, it's so weird and judgmental. And like, I mean, even just like experiences with COVID, like before COVID hit, like I would be so concerned about like what others would say around me. And it's weird once you take yourself like out of that and just like live your life, you end up like being so much more calm with like where you're at and like what you can achieve. And like you're not worried about like what everyone else thinks. Um, but yeah, like for sure, like I definitely thought about what people thought about me like as an athlete and then like also as a student because without soccer, I the chances of me getting into Columbia weren't high. Like their acceptance rate is like 5%, I think, right now. So I mean, I thought about that. If I was smart enough to go here, if I was athletic enough, like you kind of have a little bit of self-doubt and you should. Your dreams should scare you. That was my philosophy. If they're not scaring you, they're probably not big enough.
I like
You
that.
can shoot big and like land small, but like if you don't shoot big, you're just gonna land even like farther back. But yeah, that was kind of my take on it. I was scared, but like I was glad I was scared.
My one friend, I just met her, and one thing she told me was to like follow your fear.
Mm-hmm.
And that really resonated with me because I was like, yeah, if something scares you, I feel like it kind of shows that like it's worth pursuing. Like there's a reason it scares you, and it's probably because
Yeah,
it's worthwhile and because you're doing something, you know, like big, like you have big goals and dreams.
yeah, like it's gonna make you uncomfortable. You're definitely gonna grow from it. So
So since you were having, I mean, obviously all these feelings, you were nervous, you were scared, maybe a little excited, kind of wondering what was going to happen. What was it like when you found out that you got in and you'd be playing
Yeah,
soccer?
do you remember like the moment where
do
like
I remember
Was
the
there a
moment? There
moment?
was a moment.
yeah.
There was definitely a moment. So it was my senior fall. It was like September, and at this point, I had interest from Carnegie Mellon. Maybe gonna try to play basketball with the soccer, NYU, and then Villanova, and then Columbia. And I really didn't know how it was gonna pan out. And I went to my brother's football game that fall because it was also his senior year. And I was texting the Columbia soccer coach, and I was like, "I'm here. She invited me to like their practice. That same day we went up to Baker, which is the athletic complex. She brought me on the field and like the team was kind of talking through a drill. And I was just like, all right, I'm just here to watch the practice. This is fun, And the coach kind of pulls me aside and he's like, you can wait right here. And I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden the head coach calls me over. She's like, all right, guys, this is Talia. Like her brother goes here. Does everyone know Ian? And like the whole team's like, oh yeah, Ian. Cause he would go to these soccer games. And she said, yeah, we're going to offer Talia a spot on our team right here in front of you guys. And I was shocked. Like I was still waiting on test scores and I was stressed about that. And she said, don't worry about how they come out. Like we can get you in like right now. And I was just like, my face dropped and they were like recording me and like the whole team like gave me a hug and like everyone was just kind of like tearing up and like crying. And I was like obviously emotional because I had dreamt about this day since I was in like 7th grade. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Like I was in complete shock. And at that point, like I didn't know for certain I was going to go to Columbia, but I was like going to wait to hear back from Villanova. And once they said like, you should take it, like I just started crying, like, cause all that stress that had built up in me for like a few years and like not knowing where to go, like I could finally like relax and be like, I finally know. Yeah, I finally knew where I was going. And it was just like so nice to be done. Cause like the recruiting process is like, it's fun because you get to meet new people, but like it's so stressful. You want to appreciate the journey. Now, retrospectively looking back, I'm like, that was so fun. I got to travel like a lot of places with my dad and everything, but it's very liberating feeling being done and knowing all your work paid off and you got what you wanted.
I'm really happy. You seem so happy just talking about it, even though it was a few years ago.
It made me happy.
Yeah, it made me happy to watch you.
Yeah, no, it was
it.
No, it was one of the best days of my life.
I feel like moments like that stick with you forever. Like it's such like an emotionally charged moment where it's just like that memory is probably so like strong to think about.
Yeah. And like I looked up to like a lot of those girls on the team and to like be offered in front of them and like not have any idea it was going to happen was like the best surprise like ever. Like it was amazing.
So you find out that you get in and you're excited, you do the rest of your senior year, and then you're going to move in the fall. What was it? I guess soccer probably moves in earlier than everybody else. It's a fall sport.
Yep.
So what was it like moving, first of all, to a a place you had always wanted to live? I mean, you're a young kid, a young girl in New York City.
Yeah, just moving to New York City. Like,
yeah, you're going to college now. You're playing a college sport. What was
going
all
to
that
Columbia? Like, how are you feeling? Like, as the days are getting closer.
I don't think I've ever been so excited in my life. I mean, I told you I looked up to like a lot of the players that were already on the team who were like friends with my brother, and I was just so excited to meet them and like live out my dreams. But you would think the transition would be pretty hard, and like the learning curve, like as a freshman, is just like it's crazy. But having a team, having 30 other girls that are just like in your corner and like helping you like adjust to like the city life and your class schedule and like where you're going to be living, where to eat, and all these things like makes it so much easier. And honestly, when you first get here, you're in preseason. Everything you do with the team. You're not all out on your own. You're like with the team the whole day. You go to sleep, you wake up, you do it all over again. And then by the time classes start, you're like just thankful to be anywhere other than the soccer field. You're just like, oh my God, I can sit down and like not have to like physically use my body for a little bit.
Is it hard? Because it's it's a higher level of sport than obviously high school. And I mean, you're playing multiple sports at once in high school. So I'm sure that was pretty physically demanding. Is there a big shift, in your opinion, in your physical and mental health as well once you go from high school to college?
Yeah, I think in high school, I was working like a lot of different muscles just because, like, in different sports, like, you kind of wear on like different parts of your body. For me, soccer, like, it was physically demanding, but I was thankful to like not be flipping through like 3 sports, if that makes sense. Like, it was nice to focus on one thing. And like, obviously, we take care, like, really good care of our bodies, and we have training rooms, ice baths, like foam rollers, and like in high school, like that just wasn't a thing. Like you didn't see people like foam rolling before and after games, or like taking an ice bath usually, or like meeting with the trainer.
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild if somebody was doing that in high school. That'd be pretty intense.
Someone has their own trainer in high
Little
school.
ice bath. I've never seen that. I didn't even know they did that in college.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely like a high priority on like what you're eating and like what you're putting into your body and like what you're doing pre and post training. So it's definitely manageable. Like it's hard, but it's worth it, you know.
Was it hard juggling like academics as well as playing soccer? Like, did you really have to like focus on time management? Like, how did you schedule it all?
Yeah, no, time management is huge. A lot of times our practices would be in the morning, so it'd be nice to like get that out of the way. But it's crazy like how much of a difference like you getting up at like 5:30 makes to like your day. Like you have like such a long day, whereas like other people could be like waking up at 10 and they're like, oh my God, I have no time to do my homework. But it's like if you would just wake up, you would have like 5 hours to do your homework. Like it's hard because like sometimes the normal students will complain about like, oh God, I have no time. And we're like, you have no time? Like we have no time. But like it's definitely manageable. Like you can get by, and like not all assignments are like, I mean, you can get by with not doing like everything down to like a T, you know. But it's manageable, and a lot of classes like I take with teammates, so it's like nice to be able to have someone hold you accountable, help study and motivate and stuff like that.
So I guess your big goal for most of your life, I guess at least from high school on, moving to New York, playing soccer, what's something that you're looking forward to doing in the future?
I think I'm looking forward to like graduating, like that day I graduate and like know that like I came here to do something and I did it, and like I made so many great friends along the way. I think people like tend to look like 10-15 years down the road and like kind of forget about like what they accomplished. So for me, like I'm really looking forward to like actually finishing like the goal that I set out to do, being able to share that with my friends. After that, I would like to work for like a big CPG company with like a really good culture. That's consumer packaged goods. And I want to go into like sales and marketing. So that's like one of my goals. I'm working for Hershey this summer in like sales strategy and planning. So I'm super excited about that.
Wait, like Hershey the chocolate?
Yeah, the chocolate. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. You said it so casually. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. Like, and I think they have a really cool like company culture, and like, you know, just like bringing like goodness to the world. Like, who can argue with like chocolate and making people smile? So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that going to be in New York as well?
it's remote right now, so I might stay in New York. Otherwise, it would have been in Hershey, Pennsylvania. But yeah, like I'm excited. I try not to think too far ahead.
Do you plan on staying in the city, or do you think, like, how do you feel about just like living in the city?
Some people, like my brother's been here for 6 years and he really wants to get out. And like I think that kind of happens when you get older. Like a lot of people aren't trying to raise a family in the city or like stay super long. But for me, like just with COVID, like I was kind of at home for like 10 months, and I'm kind of like, I would still like to stay in the city.
Okay, you still have a lot to experience in the city.
Yeah. And I have a lot of friends in the city, obviously, like who played soccer. I would like to stay in the city a few more years after, I would think. And then after that, maybe like move out west or something. But I don't know. It's still up in the air, you know?
Yeah,
Lots of exploring to do.
New York City just seems so glamorous. Just, I don't know.
Is it as glamorous
Yeah,
as it seems for a young person to be living in New York City?
Yes. Is it everything it's hyped up to be?
I mean, right now, maybe not, because everything's kind of closed. And we actually just had indoor dining open up. But a few weeks ago, we were sitting in like 15-degree weather eating a full course meal outside on the city street. And I was just like, I cannot believe this is happening right now. Like, this is crazy.
This is a life.
This is just what I hoped for.
Yeah. We actually are just starting soccer again on Wednesday. We haven't touched the ball or done anything since March. That's been kind of a bummer, but like pre-COVID times, I would say yes. Like I mean, there's just like so much spontaneity that you can like have when you're in New York. Like one day I dropped like my friend off at the bus stop, and then like I got in line to like go to Hamilton, and like I saw Hamilton that day, and it was like literally one of the best experiences of my life. Like it was so fun, and like I just went and did it by myself. And I mean, a lot of like college campuses, the only thing in that town is the college, and like there's not that much to do. But here you can go downtown and go to like the West Village, or like go to, in Washington Square Park, or you can go to the Freedom Tower, or you can like there's so many things you can do. Go to Central Park, go to the Guggenheim.
I feel like New York City might be good for young people because it teaches you to be, I feel like, very independent and just very yourself. Like you can be anyone you want to be in New York City, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can be anywhere you want to, yeah, anywhere, but like New York definitely gives you like a good platform to like, I feel like it's just like the city that never sleeps, and like the dreams never stop. Like you can just do whatever you want and like follow whatever you want. And yeah, I think it's like a great place to be when you're younger and like trying to figure out what you want to do and who you want to be.
How old are you? 21, 22?
I'm 21.
21. Okay. Very, very old, very wise. If you could say something to someone maybe in high school or even just yourself when you wanted to play college soccer and maybe people were telling you you shouldn't, or when you were kind of, more stressed out as you were going along in the recruiting process, what would you say to somebody like that?
I'd probably just tell them never give up, no matter how much you don't think it's going to happen. Never give up on your dreams. Like you will regret it later. And I know they're scary, and I know it's hard to follow sometimes, but if you stick with it, you'd be surprised sometimes where you end up. Just stick with it. That's all I can say. Like I would never have like wished someone to like, even like when you want to go to a college, someone say like, oh, where do you want to go? Like you don't want to tell them like, oh, I want to go to Notre Dame, and then get rejected. And I think that's hard because like in high school that happens a lot, and it's hard to be like, oh, I want to play Division I college soccer, and everyone goes like, you're not going to be like playing Division I college. Like what do you like? Don't listen to those people. Like stick to it. Believe in yourself. Bet on yourself all the time. I don't care how good or bad you are. Never not bet on yourself.
Well, thank you. That was very, very good words of advice.
Yeah, and thank you for your time. We really, I enjoyed having you.
Yes,
on
I
here
learned
quite
a lot.
bit.
I feel like I didn't know much about college athletics, and you're very helpful.
No,
Yeah.
I love talking about this stuff. And if this can help
You can
anyone
tell.
in the recruiting process or anything like that, I love doing this stuff.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice having you.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks so much again to Talia for being on the show today. If you have a story you want to personally share on the show or want us to read on air, find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at JustAPersonPod, or send us an email at justapersonpod@gmail.com. And we'll see you next Monday with another new episode.